Hello and welcome.
Hello.
Thank you for I dropped my pen, my mechanical pencil. Thank you for joining us on this, our 31st Drunk Doctor Who podcast.
First, yeah. Episode number 31.
Episode number 31. What are we drinking today, Hatter?
All right. I have Captain Morgan 100 spiced rum. It's pretty good. I like this stuff.
I dropped my mechanical pencil.
Here.
Somewhere deep within the depths of this. Hey, there's a butter. There's a butter. Out there. So I started off with these pale ales, these Sierra Nevada pale ales. They're meh, but now I have some. Not only have I put Fireball in Coke to make cinnamon Coke, which is amazing, by the way. I put Fireball into orange vanilla Coke, so now
he's not driving.
I have orange vanilla cinnamon Fireball Coke, which is quite fantastic.
We have a guest room. He's not driving home.
I don't know where my mechanical pencil is.
Don't worry about it. I gave you.
All right, I give up.
All right.
So, cheers.
Cheers. All right.
Cheers to Drunk Doctor Who.
Drunk Doctor Who.
I've been this time with 20% more stubble. This is 3 days without shaving. This is the 4th day. So give me another week. Give me until next podcast. I might have a light beard by then. I think I'm going to try and grow a beard. Because now I'm at a place of employment where I'm allowed to grow facial hair. I wasn't always allowed to.
Oh, there you go.
I had to be clean shaven for my previous job.
Okay.
Now they let me grow a beard.
You'll notice a second shelf here.
We've expanded.
Yep, because I was running out of space on here now. They're coming out with all the seasons on Blu-ray.
By we, I mean you.
I was running out of space.
Well, I've expanded physically in the sense of my caloric intake in my body.
Yeah, welcome to getting older. Alright, so
can I tell you a secret?
What?
This polo doesn't fit. Is it obvious? It doesn't
I don't know, I wasn't looking at
you see my man boobs? My boobs?
What?
My titties?
They're called pecs.
Yeah, I don't have any pecs. I just got man boobs.
Roll with the pecs, okay?
Boobs. They're not very pec-like.
Always. Alright, so
they're just fat.
So now you can hopefully see all of the DVD/Blu-rays.
We can see these, not the...
What?
Those are probably off camera because they're at an angle.
Well, no, hopefully the angle takes them in. Alright, hold on. Let me look.
Let's find out. Hatter!
What?
I had a dream.
They're a bit in shadow, but yeah, you can see them. So...
Is it because of the light source or the...
Well, like I said, they're a bit in shadow. I mean, the light's coming this way is pretty good, but that way not so much. Okay, so...
We'll put in an additional...
Then we would need to, turn that dealie up there.
I can do that.
Wait, don't break it. We can mess with that later.
Do they rotate?
I don't know. That's why I'm saying don't break it. We can mess with it later.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
Yeah, they do.
We'll add a soft lighting effect with the backdrop. We'll put some soundboards in. To dampen the...
Okay.
Anyway, Hatter, I had a dream. Oh, I found the mechanical pencil. It wasn't in the couch. It was right there. I thought it fell down there. It was right there in the seat.
Okay.
Hatter, I had a dream. And you were in it.
Okay.
Do you want to hear about it?
As long as it's not too sexual, yeah.
It's not sexual. I had a dream.
What?
And it was, You know how dreams oftentimes are misrepresented reality? Like it's similar themes, but things are slightly different, like it changes things?
Yeah.
So, this isn't the first time you've appeared in one of my dreams. I've dreamed about the shop before, and I went to the shop for a World of Warcraft trading card game pre-release, which doesn't happen anymore. I went to the shop, and it was the shop, but it was in my dream, so it's slightly different. It was misrepresented. Instead of the actual Mad Hatter shop, it was like a small corner. You know those corner shopping... Those shopping corners? This is a much smaller shop. Kind of like the store before the one you have now. But even smaller. It's like
the 34th Street location.
I don't know. I've never been to that one. I've only been to the one you have now on Texas Avenue, and I went to the one on
50th and University.
50th and University.
Okay, that one was 5,600 square feet.
Yeah.
The one we have now is almost 12,000 square feet.
Anyway, things are often misrepresented in dreams. I had a dream a couple weeks ago, very vivid. I came over, you were having this party, some sort of party, maybe we were watching a movie, but you invited me, and I showed up with my siblings. I had Levi and Sean with me.
I know Levi, I don't think I've met Sean.
That's my sister, you've never met her, and Sean traditionally is a man's name.
Yeah, Shauna would be the female version.
Yeah, but my dad's name John, and Sean is like the Irish, Scottish version of John.
Okay.
Sean. So for some reason they named my sister Sean after John because they thought Sean was more effeminate, which it's not, by the way. It's a male's name, but it's Shaun. Anyway, I show up to this party with myself and my two siblings, and you're there, and you have a couple of your close friends there, your shop friends maybe, and then some actors start walking into your house, like Matthew McConaughey, like, oh gosh, who else was there? Owen Wilson, and, gosh, who else?
Whatever you're smoking, I want some of it.
I don't know, it was a weird dream. Gosh, who plays the Zohan?
Oh, don't mess with the Zohan?
Yeah, who plays
like Ben Stiller?
Ben Stiller. There's Ben Stiller, Matthew McConaughey, Owen Wilson, and maybe one or two other like mainstream famous actors. Like these people start walking into your party, your house party. I'm like, oh my gosh, Hatter's close friends with all these famous actor people. I didn't know that. So it's me, myself, my siblings, you, your friends, and then your famous actor friends that come walking in. And my mind's absolutely blown that you know these people, that you know these famous actors. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to talk to them. And you know, you're standing with your close friends and your actor friends. And I keep trying to insert myself into this conversation. And for some reason, I think it's really funny that I ask this question. I keep trying to ask this question, hey, if I were to make a movie with all of you in it, how much would that cost me? And for some reason, I thought that was a funny comment to ask. Mm-hmm. But they're not paying attention to me. So I try to refer to each of them as their name. I'm like, hey, Owen Wilson. Hey, Matthew McConaughey. Hey, Ben Stiller. And, you know, I get their, like, three of their attention by referring to them by name. And then I keep forgetting the other names. I'm like, hey, Owen Wilson. And then I get, like, three of their attention by referring to them as by their name. I try to ask them that question. I'm like, if I were to make a movie with you in it, how much would that cost me? And like halfway through the question, they keep, you know, becoming disinterested in the conversation. So they'll like turn away and start talking to each other. And I'm getting frustrated because I can't ask them my question. And then they're getting frustrated with me because I keep trying to talk to them. And then you're getting upset because I'm embarrassing you in front of your actor friends. So you lead them into your backyard. You're like, hey guys, let's go hang out in the backyard. And you and your close friends and your actor friends all go into the backyard. And I try to follow you out into your backyard. And you're like, hey, there's not enough seating for all of us out here. Why don't you hang out in here? And then you close the door.
You have some weird dreams. Don't worry, he's not driving home.
So I was just sitting in your living room with my siblings, like watching a sports game, like the Saints game, and I was upset because I'm like, man, Hatter's embarrassed of me in front of his actor friends.
Like I could never be embarrassed of anything.
Like I said, dreams are misrepresented of reality. I had one dream a while ago. You know, you have dreams, and the moment you wake up, you don't remember what you dreamed about. Yeah. It was one of those dreams. I didn't remember it at first until I had this most recent dream. It reminded me of these other dreams. Like, Don't be freaked out. You're not the main topic of my dreams, but you just happen to, you're like a side character in my dreams. You make appearances, like my influences and friends and family members.
I swear we're going to talk about Doctor Who eventually.
Eventually, hold your horses. I have dreams to talk about. So you make appearances in 2 or 3 of my dreams. This most recent dream I had reminded me of a dream I had where I show up to your house, right? But like I said, dreams are misrepresentations of reality, so it's different. It's slightly changed. For some reason, instead of your house, you lived in this apartment building, and you had a second-story apartment. And I go up into your apartment, and then I open the door. I kind of just invite myself in, and you're like annoyed that I walked into your apartment. And it's you and Lissa, and you're having tea, and you're like building a puzzle or something, or playing a game, and you're annoyed that I just like showed up. I'm like, hey Hatter, what's up? How's it going? And you're just sitting there, and you're like, Holden, what? It's Tuesday. Tuesday's my puzzle night. You can't just show up. And Lissa's annoyed too. She's like, we always build puzzles on Tuesdays. And I'm just standing there like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to crash your puzzle night. And Lissa's like, would you like some tea, I guess, or something?
On Tuesday, we play board games. It's Gloomhaven and stuff.
So I don't know.
All right.
And like I said, I had a dream about the shop doing a World of Warcraft dream. Would you like to try it? It's great. Try it.
No. I'm mostly curious to make sure there's nothing else in here.
No. Did you try it?
No.
It's good. It's like cinnamon Coke. Good?
That's interesting.
It's good.
That's interesting.
It's good. You like it?
Wait, so cherry vanilla Coke.
Yes.
And Fireball.
Fireball. Cinnamon Coke. But, normally it's cinnamon Coke. This time it's cherry vanilla. No, orange vanilla cinnamon Coke.
Orange vanilla.
So there's quite a few more flavors in there than there usually are.
Kind of tastes like spiced wine.
Yeah.
Mulled wine.
It's good. It's good, right? You like it?
It's interesting, yeah. Not bad.
You're drinking Jack Daniels.
Yeah, and after all that, I'm going to be drinking more of the... It's not Jack Daniels, it's Captain Morgan's.
Oh, Captain Morgan, I'm sorry.
All right.
My mistake. Hey, this is the Drunk Doctor Who podcast.
Yeah, Drunk Doctor Who.
Play the intro. So, we're supposed to be talking about...
We don't have an intro. Okay, this is the intro. All right. So we watched The Highlanders, which is the 31st serial of Doctor Who. It has 4 episodes that were aired from December 17th of 66 to January 7th of 1967. The companions are Ben and Polly, and we get the new companion, Jamie McCrimmon, who was a last-minute addition as a companion. They originally were not going to keep him on.
They're just like, by the way...
Wait. And Jamie McCrimmon.
Right, he's a new
companion.
We got a comma now instead of an ampersand. Ben, comma, Polly, and then the ampersand goes over here now. Oops.
Okay, so anyway.
Ampersand.
Ampersand.
What? How do you say it?
Ampersand.
Does Jamie...
With a D at the end.
Does Jamie have 2 M's or 1 M?
One. 2 would be jammies.
Jammies.
1
J-A-M, singular M-I-E.
Okay, so...
Ben, Polly, and Jamie. And then our antagonists are Gray and...
Trask. Alright, so anyway...
you do the 3 and then the dash through. You don't do like the weird ampersand that goes like that. I don't even know how to do like... It's like a cursive ampersand.
An ampersand is...
Yeah, you're good at that.
That's an ampersand.
And then also, that's the cursive ampersand. And then you have the print one is like the 3 with a dash through it. That's like shorthand or something.
It looks like a B. Alright. Okay, so anyway. So Ben and Polly and the Doctor show up on the TARDIS right after the battle of... What was the name of the battle? This is stuff you should be writing in your notes.
I wrote down the names because you got mad at me for writing down the name.
No.
But I forgot to write down the Battle of...
Okay, the Battle of Culligan or something. Battle of Cooligan or something. Anyway, so this is the...
I was watching last week's podcast
Okay.
And I kept laughing at how annoyed you were. I mean, because you would ask for this person's name. I'm like, I didn't write down their name. And it kept coming up. You kept asking for their name. I'm like, from earlier, I still haven't written down their name. You're like, you had one job, Holden. One job was to write down their names. I forgot to write down this time, because of that last week, I was so embarrassed I didn't write down his name. I wrote down everyone's name. I didn't write down the name of the battle.
Okay.
I'm a bad note taker under the influence of alcohol. Even sober, I'm not great at taking notes.
Okay. So anyway, they show up right after the last battle of the Jacobite War.
This is how you fake your way out of not knowing the answer. Because you had a whole lot of Scottish people and pirates, and they spoke with these weird accents, which is really hard to understand. And Trask would be like, "Pull him under," but he'd say it with a weird pirate accent. He'd anda.
Right.
So here's the name of the battle. You just say it with an accent. You just say some gibberish with an accent, and you think I know it, but I really don't know it. The Battle of Hinchinmidhanda.
I don't think that was it.
Hinchinmidhanda.
Holden or something. Alright. So the Doctor, Ben, and Polly show up on the battlefield right after this battle has taken place, where the last battle of the Jacobite War, where the Prince...
Jacobite!
Right.
Those were the Scottish... That's not the name of the war, though.
Okay.
The Jacobites.
They're the Jacobites, right.
Yeah.
Because they supported the French prince against the German-English King of England. Because he was of German descent, but he was now King of England, thanks to a whole bunch of intermarrying amongst the royalty back then.
What year was this?
1735.
Really?
I think.
1735.
I think.
Cool.
My phone's there, so it may have been 1745, but if 1743, it's right in there.
I thought it was like the 1600s.
No,
I'm bad
18th
with
century. 18th century.
Yeah, I'm bad with
it was a little bit before our Civil War.
I was watching The Mummy, and they said the 20th century. I'm like, but it's the 1900s. Why did he say the 20th century? And the person I was watching the movie with had to explain to me the 1900s was the 20th century.
Correct.
Because
you're counting up to 20.
For some reason, I'm so bad with numbers, I thought 2000s was the 20th century.
It was the 21st.
That's the 21st, yeah. I'm just bad with math. Anyway, bad with dates, bad with math.
Alright.
I love history, though. Just not good with dates, which is half of history. It's just dates.
Yeah. Alright. So they show up. They,
So this is right around the time that America was fighting for their independence, which 1776 beforehand. Anyway, America fighting for their independence under English rule. A great part of the Americas winning their independence. A, the guerrilla warfare type battles that were going on. B, because England had so many other wars going on. They were at ends with half of the world. Plus, they're having so many financial problems. Do you think the Americas could have won their independence if England wasn't so screwed up at the time, in the middle of so many other wars and in great financial problems?
French and whatnot. Yeah.
And then, the French helped us. The French helped us with our independence,
right.
Which is great.
Jean Lafitte.
And then France went into this whole civil war, which we didn't touch that with in football. Like, you guys figure that out.
The French Civil War after our... No, it was a Revolutionary War. French Revolutionary War.
Yes.
It was right after our Revolutionary War. And...
Well, ours was Yeah, you're right. This is French Revolution.
Yeah, American Revolution, then the French Revolution.
Yes.
And...
That's weird. Why is it not a civil war? Because it's within the same...
It's a civil war if you lose. It's a revolution if you win. So if we had lost to the British, it would have been a civil war. But we won, so it's our revolution. If the South had managed to win, that would have been their revolution. But as it was an American Civil War. All right. Okay. Anyway, so
fun fact about.
Alright, so
we're about the Civil War.
We're the early mid 1800s.
The South had about half the troops of the Union, but just as many casualties, or if not more. The Union had way more casualties than the South, even though they had twice the troops. The only reason, never mind.
I have no idea as to how many casualties there were on each side. I just said there was about 600,000 casualties total, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, about 400,000 was the Union. 200,000 or 300,000 was the Confederacy. The Unions just had way more troops than the South.
Right.
I read that on a plaque. I went to Austin, Texas, on a vacation, and they had right by their, what do you call that, courthouse? Their
state capitol.
Not the state capital. It was in Austin, the city.
Austin is our state capital.
Maybe it was. Yeah, it's probably the Capitol building. They had this big statue and this plaque about the Civil War, and I took a picture, and it listed the casualties and
the reason the South lost was because the North had the issue of slavery. If the South had really wanted to win, they should have freed the slaves and then seceded, and the North would not have ever had the stomach to fight. I mean, because the only thing worse than a civil war is slavery. Slavery is an abomination.
Right, I agree.
Speaking of which,
and the war was about state freedom over the right.
Well, part of it, yes, it's all intertwined with slavery because that was the state right that they were fighting to keep.
Yeah,
it's a lot of
other state rights. They wanted,
Well, but the slavery was the main issue, but it was intertwined with the state right and the right to self-determination amongst a looser amalgamation of independent states.
Less government. What do they call that? Libertarian. Is that right? With less government?
Libertarian is less government, but libertarian has nothing to do with slavery.
I think I may be more libertarian. I think.
Okay.
I think anything.
No, libertarian's good. I voted for Gary Johnson last time around, but
Gary Johnson he's cool.
Yeah.
I like libertarianism. I think Gary Johnson had some bad things going for him, policy-wise, but
he had a few problems.
He was pretty moderate, as you'd say. But I like the libertarian aspect of it. I think anything that the federal government gets involved in is usually handled way worse when it's up to the free market. Independent market, private organizations usually handle things way better than the federal government.
Everything should be handled
because it's not funded by the taxpayers. Just look at the USPS compared to FedEx.
Right.
FedEx is making, or Amazon. Amazon is making billions of dollars in profit. USPS losing millions and billions of dollars.
Everything should be handled as close to the individual as feasibly possible.
I agree.
The only thing the federal government should do is the postage service, because it's in the Constitution, the minting of money,
it's actually
dealing with other countries, wars, etc.
The Constitution states that the government may erect post offices. It doesn't say it has to. It's universal postage within the country is not actually a constitutional right. It just says it may have.
But it is a power given unto the federal government, unlike a bunch of other stuff.
It's not a necessity. That doesn't have to be guaranteed.
Right, but at least it's allowed to them, unlike medical care, which is nowhere in the Constitution. Anyway. Okay. Speaking of slavery. Yes. Back to the Doctor Who. Okay.
Good segue.
Yeah. Okay. On-ramp or whatever. Okay. So Ben, Polly, and the Doctor show up.
We have the reappearance of Doctor Who mode. It hasn't, the chalice, would you call this chalice?
Yeah, chalice.
It hasn't been on the podcast for a while. Drunk Doctor Who mug, chalice.
Okay.
Sorry. So Ben, Polly,
and the Doctor.
and the Doctor.
Show up in Scotland.
Doctor Who, that's what I said.
Right after the last battle of the Jacobite War, the French pretenders, young pretenders, lost. The Scots, he had a bunch of Scots on his side, were defeated, and the British army, the English army, is going around killing anyone they find that they suspect was a Jacobite supporter, man, woman, child.
Hanging.
They're hanging everybody. They're running them through on the battlefield. It's really no quarter because they are rebels. They are traitors in English.
Not considered prisoners of war.
Right, because they're
traitors.
They
don't have the same rights as prisoners of war.
Right, so
it's just executed.
Right, so the Doctor and Ben and Polly start helping the Scottish Laird.
Laird.
He's not a McCrimmon. He's
It never says his name. They only ever refer to him as Laird. I specifically wrote that down because I didn't want you to get.
It says his name at some point.
I don't think it does because I would have wrote. I specifically wrote these things down because I didn't want you to get upset with me for not writing down names. So in the beginning, they had 2 redcoat officers. They're only ever referred to as sergeant and lieutenant, and I wrote that down so you wouldn't get upset with me for not having the names.
The lieutenant is Finch.
A different lieutenant. You had sergeant, lieutenant, and then we had Finch. Algernon, Thomas something.
Algernon. Thomas Albert Finch.
Albert Finch. We had Jamie McCrimmon. We had Perkins, the Gray's.
The clerk.
Yeah. We had Gray. We had Kirsty, which was the maiden. We had Finch. We had Laird, only ever referred to.
I think they say his name.
We had Molly, which was the kitchen winch that the Doctor impersonated. And we had Trask, the ship captain,
You forgot Willis.
Willis? Who's Willis?
Willis was the captain of the ship that Trask overthrew. And then he takes back over the ship towards the end.
The Trask was like the ship's first mate.
Originally, but then he took over and became the captain. But he's the bad pirate dude. Anyway,
Willie was there for like a scene.
Okay.
Anyway, Scottish Laird. I don't know his name.
Okay, so the Doctor, Ben and Polly show up. They don't know what's going on. Well, the Doctor figures it out. Ben and Polly don't have a clue. They help this Laird.
I don't have a clue either.
I'll explain it. The Scottish Laird is injured from the battle, and the Doctor helps him. There's a little bit of infighting at first because they're taken prisoners by the Scotsmen, including Jamie McCrimmon.
You explain the plot. I'll be right back.
All right. I'll use the restroom. All right. So Jamie McCrimmon and the other guy take the Dr. Ben and Polly hostage. They take them into the Scottish hovel. The Ben manages to wrest away a gun. They take their captors captive. They help the Scottish Laird so that he's not going to die, and they make them promise that they're not going to hurt them, molest them, as they say. They mean molesting as in doing injury to, not sexual molestation. Then they all end up getting captured by the English, except for Polly and Kirsten, because they went off to get water to help the Laird from the river. But Ben and Jamie and the Doctor and the Laird get captured, and they're going to be sold off into indentured servitude, to slavery. There is a difference. It's kind of a moot point because nobody's going to survive the 7 years of indentured servitude on the islands of Jamaica and Barbados and all that. But technically there's a difference. Because this Gray guy, this guy is a real Hanyak, and he was given a license by the king to deal with the rebels and he's trying to have them all not killed so he can sell some of them into indentured servitude so he can make a whole bunch of money. Real Hanyok. He has under his employ Perkins, his secretary clerk, and Trask. Trask is a piratey guy who took over the Annabelle, the ship, HMS Annabelle, from Willis. Okay, so the Doctor adopts a German doctor disguise. He actually, Troughton is really, really good with adopting disguises in order to, trick people or talk his way out of things. So he adopts a German doctor disguise, Dr. Van Voss or something like that. Then he adopts an old lady disguise, like he's a little old lady at an inn. And then later on he adopts a British soldier disguise, as if he's a wounded British soldier. So he does 3 disguises during the course of that. What are you doing? Okay. Well,
shout out to our one fan.
Wait. Hopefully, we have 20-something.
20-something subscribers. Only one of which is a true fan because he bought us.
We don't know that. We don't know the hearts.
He bought figurines.
All right.
Shout out to what's his name?
I'm drunk.
Are we allowed to? Shout out to you, our #1 fan, for buying these figurines.
He gave us.
You're our favorite.
All right, he gave us these action figures, and they're from the current revival of the show.
Action figures. Current revival of the show.
Right.
You're our #1 fan. Shout out to you, buddy.
The Sycorax leader. This is from the first. It's from the 9th Doctor's run. Okay, series 1.
Mm-hmm.
In an episode where
zombies.
Yeah, they're zombies. They're the undead. They're the dead that come back to life because of something trying to get into our world.
The anti.
I'm not going to spoil too much. And this one is a bad guy during the first series of, i.e. series 2 of Tennant.
Yes.
He's a real Hanyok. Tries to stab the Doctor in the back, and the Doctor dispatches him. Anyway.
Thank you to you, buddy, man.
Yeah, thank you. I wish I could remember your name, but I'm not as drunk as he is, but I'm drunk. All right.
Well, you've probably drank more than me. You just have a higher tolerance.
That is correct.
One is
Cajun
trick
and older. Okay.
I'm just kidding. It was pre-popped.
It was.
I didn't do that with my teeth.
Okay. So anyway, first of all,
Hatter, how's the plot going? I just got back.
I'm working on it. All right. Okay. It's gonna be the weirdest, most rambly, sprawling episode we've ever had. Okay.
Historicals, is pretty straightforward plot. There's some history questions, not a whole lot of questions. So it's okay if we ramble a little bit to pad out.
We don't have to pad on anything. If the episode is 15 minutes, it's 15 minutes. If it's 2 hours, it's 2 hours.
In what world would we ever
need to be looking?
With you,
never, ever. All right.
Never.
Okay. So anyway,
I have questions.
There's this lieutenant, Algernon.
What's the deal when people refer to lieutenants as lieutenants? Put a F.
I have no idea.
Lieutenant.
I can see lieutenant if you're talking about a German.
Nah.
Okay. All right. So anyway, the Dr. Troughton adopts a bunch of disguises. That's one of his shticks and one of his things, and he does at least 3 of them during the course of this, as I was saying. But anyway, so he pretends to be a German doctor, and then he pretends to be an old lady in the inn, and then later on he pretends to be a wounded British soldier. He's really good at it, and he does this a lot. Okay,
It's
one of his sticks. He does it a lot. He does accents, and he's a good role player.
You got another shtick? Horrible recorder.
I don't know.
He's not great at the recorder.
I don't know.
And then he asks Jimmy to teach him the bagpipes. I hope he doesn't.
Jamie, yes. Okay. All right. So let me continue with the plot.
When the Doctor first regenerated, he's digging through this chest of the previous Doctor regenerations, adventures. He's like, oh, Daleks, and he's looking, oh, you went to this century, and he finds this recorder. He's like, I guess this will determine my entire personality.
He does play with the recorder a lot.
Is that recorder?
But it's a plot device in his first serial where he gets him out of the jail cell by hitting the note.
And in this one, when he breaks out of jail, when he plays the Scottish
the Jacobite
folk song, the Jacobite Call to Arms.
So they work it into the plot. All right. Anyway,
he's not great at playing.
Okay. Anyway, so oh my God, where was I? You got me so off track.
Sorry.
No problem. Okay, so
the Doctor in his disguises, he's a wounded soldier.
Oh yeah, right. So anyway, Polly and Kirsten keep trying to rescue everybody because Kirsten's father, the Lard, is being held hostage. And the Doctor manages to get his way out of the Inverness prison by tricking the guards, tricking Gray, and tricking Perkins, all into thinking there's problems, and he manages to escape and disguise himself as the old woman.
You're still on the second episode.
You don't let me finish the explanation. I'm trying to explain this. There's more plot than you think. All right. So the Doctor eventually meets up with Polly and Kirsten, and in the meantime, Polly and Kirsten had trapped Algernon Finch, the lieutenant.
Finch.
He has two F's in Finch. Finch. Polly says that several times.
You ever watch Jeff Dunham, the ventriloquist that does the puppets?
Yeah. What about it?
Jeff is spelled with two F's, so one of the puppets bits is he calls him Jeff Fuffa.
All right. Same thing.
Finch.
All right. So Polly and Kirsten manage to trick the lieutenant because they're stuck down at the bottom of a pit. They manage to trick him to falling into the pit. They get his seal from the king and stuff.
And they rob him blind.
Take 20 guineas. That seal is a what's the term? Accreditation. They get a seal of accreditation, and they rob him blind, and they explain that they're going to embarrass how two unarmed women, not quite unarmed, she has a dirk, two women, young ladies, managed to overcome the lieutenant in the military.
Stole Finch's pistol.
And they stole his pistol. So
anyway,
anyway,
they had fallen into this hunter's trap.
Right.
And then they hear the redcoats, so they make this bird call. And he walks over the hole and they trap.
Right. So eventually, the girls and the Doctor meet up while the Doctor's pretending to be the old woman, and he helps them against Perkins. And in the meantime, Ben has somehow, they've all been taken to the ship to be taken to Barbados, and it's going to leave in the morning, but they have to get a legal document of indentured servitude for the lawyer Gray, to make things nice and legal, but Ben had ripped up the other
7 year
indentured servitude.
Which honestly, when put up next to death, is not that bad of a deal.
Well, it's the quick death or the long, slow death.
They work you to death before you hit 7 years.
Exactly.
But if you're stout enough, I guess you might survive it.
It's like Ben-Hur. Nobody survives.
It's a great movie.
In that,
long movie. Yeah,
that's a good movie.
He survived.
He did because he was touched by Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's right.
But most people don't.
Speaking of which, I'm reading this book, Muscle and a Shovel.
Muscle and a Shovel.
Yeah, it's this religious book, and so I went to this church banquet, and they had this speaker, the author of this book, and he did this nice speech as his fundraiser. I got his book, and I was reading the preface, and the preface states, this book lists controversial religious topics. I hope I don't offend you. And I read over that, I'm like, probably not. I probably agree with everything this person writes about, because, he was at a banquet that my church hosted, so I'm like, yeah, I probably agree with, his religious views. And then the first chapter was like, I don't know. So, anyway, it's a good read. It's very challenging, so I was looking up his sources.
Is it M-U-S-C-L-E or M-U-S-S-E-L?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, M-U-S-C-L-E.
Mussel and shuffle. Yeah.
Well, there's also the mollusk, a mussel.
Yeah. A mussel isn't, it takes a mussel and a shovel to actually get in and study the word. And anyway, this is a good read.
Okay. All right.
What were we talking about?
Focus.
Somehow that came up. Something.
Okay. So Ben. Okay, I think it came up because Ben went and tore up all the contracts. So the solicitor, the lawyer, Gray, had to go back and get more contracts.
Because we're talking about Ben-Hur.
Yeah. So they were going to make an example of Ben. So they put him over the side of the ship on the pulley.
But he flexed.
But he flexed before they put him in the water. So it was a Houdini trick. So then he flexed before they put him in the water and tied him up. So then he unflexed and he was able to get out of the ropes. And he could swim, so he swam to shore.
Incidentally, that's the same way you're supposed to get out of a straitjacket. Because you flex and you bow up, and then you put the straitjacket on, and then you relax, and then you're able to...
I've never been in a straitjacket.
Me either, and I hope I never am. Because I don't have many muscles. When I flex, it's not very far from being unflexed.
Same here.
If you have actual good muscle build when you flex, it's about...
But I'm double jointed, and that would help me get out.
That would help you. I am not, so I'm screwed either way.
Alright, so, believe it or not, despite the fact you didn't write many notes, there's stuff going on. So, Ben manages to get to shore, bumps into the doctor, so...
Well, Ben... There is plot, but it's straightforward plot. So
there's
not a lot of questions involved in the plot.
Correct. And then the history is explained here. So Ben and Polly and Kirsten and the doctor are all together.
Yes.
And they get a bunch of weapons, because the doctor kind of raided the armory because he was disguised as a British soldier. And they take all the weapons on the skiff, a rowboat, and they take it out to the ship, and they hand it through the cannon hole to all of the prisoners.
The
Laird.
Laird can't believe his eyes.
Yeah,
it's
hearing his daughter's
like,
voice.
I must be dreaming.
Right.
And she hands him a pistol, and he's like...
He's like, okay.
Okay.
So the doctor uses the young pretender's ring, which was given to the Laird when he saved the young pretender's life on the battlefield, to trick them into thinking that Jamie was the young pretender, so that they would all actually go down into the hold. But now all of the prisoners are armed, and they all rise up against the bad guys, and they manage to overwhelm them. Trask, during the fighting, rallies the men, but eventually Jamie, of all people, with the help of Ben, Jamie manages to throw Trask overboard. Right, we don't know if he can swim or not. He figures a sailor he can swim, although Jamie cannot. So
a lot of people can't swim, apparently.
Yeah. So Trask gets thrown overboard. We don't know if he dies or not. Well, I mean, my wife can't swim. I'm trying to teach her how to swim, but there's just a lot of people who can't swim. Back then, a lot of people couldn't read. Right?
I can hardly swim.
Mm-hmm.
I can swim. I know how to swim technically, but I'm so dense that, my natural body buoyancy is about, 6 inches underwater. I'm just a dense person. I have thick bones, but also I'm carrying a lot of fat. But even when I was healthier...
fat floats, muscle sinks.
Yeah. Even when I was healthier and I didn't have a lot of body fat, I'm just, my natural buoyancy, which is a thing apparently. You don't know this. Most people's natural buoyancy is on the surface, and you can relax, and you can fill your lungs, and that's how you float on your back in the water. Mm. When I do that, I relax and I fill my lungs, my natural buoyancy is still about 6 inches or a foot, about 6 inches underwater. So I can't float on my back because I'm just naturally not very buoyant. I'm a pretty dense person. So it wasn't until I moved to Salt Lake City and I waded out into Salt Lake, I was actually able to float on my back because there's so much salt in the water. It has a higher buoyancy rate, so I was actually able to float on my back.
Oh, it's like the Dead Sea.
Yeah.
Float on.
You float on it because of all the salt. Before that, I was never able to experience that because I just go into swimming pools and I'd try to relax and fill my lungs. I'd just sink a little bit. So
okay.
If I go overboard, I'm kind of screwed because it's either
you just
swimming.
Swim.
No, yeah, I'm swimming, but when I get tired, I can't rest by floating on my back. I'll just.
All right.
There are stories of people that get, they're stranded at sea and they swim for a while and they get tired and they float on their back and they fall asleep. I can't do that. If I try to fall asleep on my back, I'll sink a little bit.
Good dense bones.
That's why the ocean is one of my biggest fears. I'm terrified of drowning. Also, you ever go to the beach and you wade out into the beach, just the riptide that pulls you in? It's a terrifying feeling.
Just trust in the Lord, okay? He'll take care of you.
Amen.
That's all you need to do.
The ocean's terrifying.
Okay. So anyway, they managed to take over the ship. Willis, after Trask is thrown overboard, manages to convince his old shipmates to give up and that they're just going to get the BF out of E and go to France. In the meantime,
what's the E?
Egypt.
Everything's Egypt. Rome.
Well, no. In this case, it's kind of a weird, long reference to the Israelites leaving Egypt.
Exodus.
The Exodus, right. The BF out of E. Anyway, so at that point, they all pretty much, including the Lard and Kirsten and everybody else, they get on the ship and they're heading to France just to get out of England for a while so they're not killed. Right. Either as a traitor like the Lard and his daughter, or and the doctor kind of tells them to come back after a few years because he doesn't want them caught up in like the French Revolution thing. Or Willis because he doesn't want their ship associated with any of the wrongdoings that were done by Trask and Gray. So the doctor, Ben, Polly, and Jamie go back to land. In the meantime, they need a way to get through everything. So they go back to Algernon Finch, Lieutenant Finch, and they convince him to help them through everything to get back to the TARDIS. And they do that with the help of the ring of...
I feel like you're not drunk enough, Ryan.
Because I'm cognizant?
Forgive me, I'm a little drunker than I am normally because I have Tuesday off. I have tomorrow off.
And because you didn't eat before we started drinking.
I also... I didn't really eat much. I'm usually not this drunk, but...
Drinking on empty stomach.
I'm off Tuesday, so...
Okay, that's why I made those eggs before you came over.
Right. So, I feel like there's this general animosity. I don't realize it right away when I'm drunk, but going back and watching last week's podcast, you just seem so annoyed at me for it.
There are times you're like, yada, 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 and I'm looking at the camera going, what the hell is he talking about?
I kept getting off topic and off subject, and I didn't write down the characters' names, and you're just like...
Okay, there's some of that tonight, too. Okay, I'm like, I'm doing this.
I know. A lot of face palming.
It's okay.
Maybe animosity is not the right word.
No.
Annoyance.
Just
general annoyance. Normally I'm more cognizant.
Addled? I don't know. It's funny. There are some days you're more drunk. There are some days I'm more drunk. There are some days we're drunk equally. It's all good.
That hardly ever happens. When you're more drunk, you just fall asleep.
Oh my gosh, the Daleks Master Plan. I was like...
It's just... And then did you ever go back and watch that scene?
Yeah, I watched them all. It's hilarious. And you're talking and I put my thumb up. I'm like, into the camera range.
Are you going to sleep and you're just
like, yes.
I'm like, I guess I'll finish up the plot. And then that one time we were equally drunk. No, I was probably more drunk. I went to throw up, and you're super drunk, and somehow you got off like super off topic, and you paused for a moment, and you're just like, "Here's the Ashton Kutcher."
Okay.
And you said you told me about that after the podcast. You're like, somehow I got super off topic, and Ashton Kutcher came up, and then I did a toast to him. I'm like, that sounds super funny. So I went back and I watched that podcast, and I saw the moment where you went, "Here's the Ashton Kutcher." I'm like, I have no idea how you got there from. I have no idea how you got from A to B. I don't. All right.
Well, here's the Ashton Kutcher.
Here's the Ashton Kutcher.
All right, Ashton
always.
Kutcher. If you're watching this, more power to you.
I've been watching a lot of That 70s Show recently. Really funny show. Except the last season, I'd skip that. He came out with a recent Netflix exclusive show called The Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about. Have you watched it? It's all about.
I've watched the first season.
I think it's super good. All about farm living and farm life. He invites a whole lot of That 70s Show characters onto it. So his brother is Hyde. He works with.
Yeah, but they write out Hyde.
Yeah, spoiler.
They write out Hyde because apparently he was accused of something with the Me Too movement of sexual harassment. So they write out his character.
I was super upset at that because I thought he was going to come back into the show, and then apparently, he never came. Anyway, they also invite Fez to play some, illegal immigrant, and they do a whole political commentary, and he gets deported. And they invite Red, his dad from That 70s Show, as like his neighboring farmer. And then they have Kitty back on the show as his fiance's mother. They just have a whole lot of characters from That 70s Show.
Oh yeah, it's fun to do that. I mean,
yeah, it's
like,
super funny.
I like Last Man Standing, and he brings in a whole bunch of people from his previous show,
right. Home Improvement. Yes.
Okay, and that's funny.
It's funny.
Self-referential.
Seeing
comedy.
all those actors together again. And,
Right.
They just enjoy working with each other after, their relationships they built after.
And there's the meta comedy.
Yeah, it's super enjoyable. I love it.
All right. So, okay. Oh, you gotta focus. All right. So,
they overthrew the crew on the ship, and
no, we're past that. Okay,
they're
back
at
on
the
land.
TARDIS. Yeah, they're
back on land,
avoiding the French Revolution.
No, they're trying to avoid the English army, and they get Finch to help them. And then at one point, Gray and some soldiers surround Finch and them, and but they told everything that Gray was doing to Finch, and Finch has Gray arrested, the slave trader.
Because they pickpocketed all of his
right,
his
the doctor
pickpocketed
all of his documents, right.
So it's just like a very last minute plot point of F you, Gray.
Yeah,
you get drugged under, you're the bad guy, so and your karma.
Finch comes out pretty well on it, and
yes,
the doctor and
because
Ben and Polly and Jamie all head to the TARDIS.
Because Finch has a crush on Polly. Not only because she blackmailed him at the beginning, they're like, also
Polly's
because
really pretty. Okay, hold on.
In this reconstruction of Steels, they're kind of
okay. Well,
not very flattering.
We've seen Polly in actual non-reconstruction
live action.
episodes. Yeah,
it's more flattering.
Right. Well,
the Steel's not as.
Well, you have to remember, it was originally done as live action. Okay, wait. So anyway, I don't think we mentioned it, but
very last minute decision. Apparently.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a reconstruction. It's a reconstruction. All 4 episodes are reconstructed because they were all deleted, all wiped and erased during the BBC during the 1970s. But it's a reconstruction. Hopefully, it'll be animated eventually, and we may revisit it at that point.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, it was a last-minute decision for Jamie to join the TARDIS crew, and in fact, in the next serial, they have to. Next serial, the one after, they sideline him for a little bit because they didn't have him written into that plot so much, and they had to actually write him in after that. But yeah, so Jamie joins the TARDIS crew, and he is one of the longest, if not the longest running companion in terms of episodes. I think he's the longest running in terms of episodes. not quite in time, because later on there are, like, Sarah Jane runs for longer in terms of seasons, but nowhere near as many episodes, because there's so many episodes in the 1960s. But yeah, Jamie's awesome, and he doesn't want to go into the TARDIS. He's like, what the heck? And Polly pulls him in, and he's like, wait a second.
She doesn't want him to get captured by the Redcoats.
Right, and killed. So that's why they take him along.
Brings up a question I had written down.
Oh, finally.
After we finish the plot. Jamie McCrimmon, me being the ingenue that I am, a millennial, when you say the name Jamie McCrimmon, very Scottish in origin.
Right.
I picture, back in the day when I watched Cartoon Network, Samurai Jack, that cartoon show. You ever watch that?
No, I'm aware of it, but I
never
watched it.
They had this super Scottish character on that show with the kilt, and he had the red hair and the big old beard. That's why I picture as like a stereotypical, medieval Scottish character with the kilt.
Wait, this isn't
the
medieval.
Beard
this is the 1700s.
And the red hair. Yeah. So I thought Jamie McCrimmon was going to be this older gentleman with a beard and a kilt and the red hair. So then I finally found out who Jamie McCrimmon was, because you've hinted at Jamie McCrimmon before.
I've mentioned him.
Yeah, you've mentioned him. So, actually see him as a much younger person. I'm like, oh, he's like, Ben and Polly's age, kind of.
Right.
Brings me to my question. The Doctor usually has, youthful, younger companions on the TARDIS as his companions.
Usually, yeah.
Does the Doctor ever have a more mature, older companion, or even someone who's more intellectually advanced, someone who, not necessarily a Time Lord, but just someone who's on par with the Doctor intellectually or age-wise, that just can keep up with what's going on?
Yes and yes.
Cool.
Okay.
Because I feel like the companions' role in the show is that of the audience, of
well, no, it's
the
true.
companions represent us as the audience going
asking questions.
Yeah, they're like, I don't understand
what's
going on, please explain it to me. And the Doctor's like, I'm annoyed, I'll explain it to you, blah blah blah,
Okay.
But is there ever a companion that like matches the Doctor intellectually, that's just the Doctor says blah blah blah, space-time continuum, and the companion's just like, oh yeah, I totally understand.
Okay, first of all, the Doctor does have older companions occasionally in the TARDIS, like Wilfred.
Wilf.
Short for Wilfred, okay? He is he's a companion from the specials, the last 2 episodes of Tennant. Right there. Tennant, right above that one, yep, Tennant. His last 2 episodes.
He's one. Would you say he's one of the most popular?
Yeah, for the modern revival.
The modern
he's the most
revival.
popular.
When people say the Doctor Tennant, it's
for the modern
usually,
revival.
Yeah,
Tom Baker's the classic.
My generation, people say the Doctor Tennant.
Yeah,
it's this guy's face that I picture. Because I didn't know this entire previous generation of Doctor.
His final companion in the TARDIS is Wilfred, who's an old grandfather. I mean, possibly he's old enough to be a great grandfather, right? He's about 70, and he's played by I can't think of the name of the actor.
Because usually companions are more youthful and energetic.
Correct, compared to the Doctor's experience.
Heavy lifting,
right.
Doctor's
but
intellectual.
Occasionally he has older companions. Also,
do you think that's because, traditionally the Doctor's older and intellectual, he has companions that are younger, youthful, and strengthful to compensate? Now that Tennant is younger and youthful, does he have older intellectual companions to compensate?
No, usually the companions are still younger and youthful, and this is just a particular companion. Okay. Also, occasionally the Doctor has a companion who is his, at least in theory, equal. Like the 4th Doctor, Tom Baker, has for a few seasons another Time Lord.
Because Hartnell had his granddaughter, another Time Lord. Maybe not actually his intellectual
Well, yeah, she was
equal
so
because
young.
she's much a much younger time.
But Tom Baker has Romana, and Romana 2, because she does regenerate.
Wow.
Is a Time Lord. She's a female, but they're still called Time Lords, not Time Ladies. Because, well, the name of the race apparently is Time Lord.
Queen. I feel like, is Lord a unisex title?
In this case, Time Lord is the name of the race.
Because landlords are male and female.
Right. Okay. Well, landlady also works. There's one single word in the English language that has stayed immune from the man-woman change. Like congressman is now also congresswoman, postman and postwoman, and they've changed and made it man and woman for everything. There's one word that say the same, which is freshman, because it denotes a period of time, not a title.
I feel like it's been the opposite, where they used to differentiate like actor and actress.
Right.
But then, as the feminism movement came in, they wanted to see themselves as, they wanted verbally, pronouns to be more equal. So they wanted just an overall blanket statement as actor to refer to both male and female.
Right. But if it has the term man in it, then they want to go man and
it's
woman.
It's very masculine.
Right. Then they want to go man and woman. If it's just actor and actress, or waiter and waitress, they want to just make it one.
Steward and stewardess.
It's
like on planes, steward and stewardess.
Right.
That is a big controversial thing.
Right. Host and hostess.
Yeah, stewardess was demeaning.
Right. So it's very counterintuitive, and it's very. They just go against whatever the grain is, and they want to go against it. It's just weird.
I read this article about the English language and how it's. People always complain, foreigners, about, learning the English language and how it's very complicated.
It's
and
one of the most
different
complicated
from
languages
other
out there.
languages. Yeah, they say that, but then I read this article arguing for the simplicity of English and how it's really not that bad in comparison to some other languages. How they have, you have to literally identify, languages like Spanish, they have masculine and feminine pronouns for even inanimate objects. Like some inanimate objects are masculine and some are feminine, and they have just so many different pronouns. They're feminine and masculine, and even things like I can't remember the language, but maybe Taiwanese. It has a whole different
Taiwanese,
a whole different.
Chinese. Traditional Chinese.
Some sort of language has a whole different set of words and pronouns when you're having conversation with two people rather than one person. And then there's Japanese, which, changes the entire, language based on how much you respect the person. Like if you're, having a very respectful conversation, it's much different than having a casual conversation. And it was listing all these different phonetical rules. They're very complicated, and they're making this whole argument with English isn't really that bad because it has its simplicities. It is confusing when you're learning it, but it can be more simplistic than these other languages sometimes.
Well, especially in modern day, English is being simplified by texting and crap.
Being super simplified.
Right, but English is a steal and a grab and amalgamation of a bunch of languages.
A melting pot.
Right, but that means there's a whole lot of exceptions to a whole lot of rules. Yeah. And it's complicated and weird in different ways in other languages.
It's simplified, yet it has these
insane
exceptions. It's the exceptions that complicate learning English.
Okay, like in Hindi, you say namaste.
Namaste.
And that literally means I bow to the deity within you. But it's the friendly version. The version that's more respectful is namaskar, which is the same thing, but to someone to whom you respect. So you have different levels and different words for showing different levels of respect, much like in Japanese or whatever. The worst is traditional Chinese or Sanskrit or ancient Latin because there are so many tenses to so many things and so many ways to say so many words.
Mm-hmm.
Like in traditional Chinese, there are 7 different tones.
Tones, yeah, that's a big thing. Is the same word can mean different things depending on which tone you say it in.
Right. In modern Chinese, simplified Chinese, you got ma, ma,
Mao.
no, ma, and ma. And one means horse, one means mother, one means buy, and one means sell. And I have no clue which one is which. I don't know. But I used to live in China. And you talk, and they would figure out what you're trying to say, like we would do to a foreigner, right? And it's like, oh, okay, he wants to do this. Well, I understand. And I forgive him for not completely understanding our language. The same, they did that to me the same way we do that to someone else. It's like, at least he's trying, And that's the whole point. If you go somewhere, try, and they will appreciate you trying, be it French or German or Spanish or Chinese or whatever.
Do you think, I hear a stereotype of going to France is, if you're trying to speak French but you're not good at it, they get super upset with you for not being able to speak proper French. They're just
pretty much all the Frenchmen and women speak English. Okay,
right,
but they want you to pay respects to their language.
Right.
So it's pardon monsieur, parlez-vous anglais? Oui, merci. So, pardon me, sir, do you speak English? Thank you. And then you speak English. As long as you give a hat tip to their language, to their culture, they're happy to help you. And it's when you assume that they speak English and just go right into English, they don't care for it because they want that hat tip to their culture.
Right, and that's the reality of it, and that causes a stereotype that they're very snooty and
because Americans just go over there and assume they'll speak English, and they don't give them that courtesy of. Pardon me. Let me try your language.
And that leads to stereotypes like in the Rush Hour movies. You ever watch the Rush Hour movies? He gets in the taxi cab and he just assumes he speaks English and he talks to him in English. Hey, take me to so and so. He's saying in French, I don't speak English. Then he pulls out the wad of cash and he's like, take me to so and so. He's like, now you're speaking my language.
Yeah. Okay. Money can bridge language barriers.
He admits that he speaks English and he takes the money and
All right. Okay. So anyway,
we just covered the
we can get off topic. Okay. So if you notice, we got two shelves here.
You said that already.
Wait. I didn't get the chance to explain it. Okay. This shelf was my birthday present because my birthday is this Thursday. This is my birthday present.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
This Thursday?
This Thursday. I turned 51. 51 this Thursday.
I feel like you just turned 50 last week.
Well, that was last year.
Time flies.
Time flies when you're having fun,
I hear time only, it gets faster and faster the older you get.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Life's like a roll of toilet paper. It goes faster the closer you get to the end.
The more experience you have, the relativity.
Right, a day can seem to take forever, but the years just fly.
Yeah.
It's crazy. All right, so anyway, got this because we were going to run out of room with the Blu-rays and everything. So the stuff you couldn't see at the bottom is now up here. This is pretty much the classic series until going to here. And then you get into the new stuff.
Blu-rays.
And then this is the Apocrypha, the movies. Well, Adventure Space and Time.
Remind me the definition of Apocrypha. What does that word mean?
Apocrypha means...
It's like semi-canon. It's like It's like offshoot kind of stuff, like background canon. Not main story.
Apocrypha means not quite...
Expanded universe, maybe.
Not quite real and not quite true. It's like the Bible has apocryphatic books that some of them the Catholics use.
It's
like Maccabees.
Like you have the inspired Word of God, And then, the how God spoke through his saints and prophets through the inspired word of God. And then you have other writings by other sources that are historically canonical, but not necessarily the inspired word of God. It's people writing of the same events, but
stuff. Right. And this includes things like...
So you had like Roman atheists who didn't subscribe to that religion, but they still wrote about, how day turned to night when Christ was crucified. They're like, this is a weird event. I don't believe in Jesus being crucified, but this happened. There was an earthquake in the temple.
Well, no, we're talking about things that were maybe at one point considered canon, but are no longer, like Scream of the Chakla for Doctor Who, or the Book of Maccabees, which is in the Catholic Bible, but not the Protestant Bible. I think it's even considered apocrypha in the Catholic Bible. I don't know the Catholic Bible that well. But there are, during the wilderness years of Doctor Who, there was a bunch of stuff made by several different companies.
Just to hold on to that.
Just to hold on to Doctor Who. And that's all apocrypha. And same for
the trademark. They had to come out with a...
Right. But same thing for the Dalek movies in the 60s. Adventures in Space and Time, which we're going to watch soon.
Yes.
About the first Doctor, stuff like that. And
maybe we could do that on our downtime, waiting for the animation of the...
We're going to, and that'll be the first time when our episode number will be different than the series.
It's gonna happen inevitably.
Right. So anyway,
we're just sitting on the arm.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Season 4 of Doctor Who.
Breaking out his spreadsheet. Season 4 of Doctor Who was really ravaged by the BBC's wipings. Except for Australia, who censored things that are too violent.
Just little snippets.
Speaking of violence, this is probably one of the most family-friendly serials we've had so far. Before the rolling credits, we had an on-screen death, which set up the expectation that, there's this huge battle that's gone on, as the setup.
There's going to be a lot of death.
There's going to be a lot of death. We saw one on-screen death, and then that's about it. There's only one.
Yeah.
We had a corpse that got thrown off the ship, but it was already a corpse. We didn't see that person die on screen. Every battle ended up in a stalemate or a retreat, and then we had Trask, who got thrown overboard. We're not sure if he died or not.
There seemed to be several deaths during the rebellion on the ship.
There's a reconstruction, so we heard gunfire and sword fighting.
Right.
We didn't really get to witness it, so we're not sure if that happened on screen or not. But from what we can tell, there's not a whole lot of on-screen death. So a lot of implied death, not really a whole lot of violence shown in that.
At least as far as we could tell. Correct. Okay, so this was the second serial for the second Doctor. And it's a fourth serial.
We still haven't seen him in live action.
No. Well, we saw the animated
one snippet.
Okay. So the next one is the Underwater Menace. Okay. That exists. Okay.
Yes. First time we're gonna see the Doctor in action.
The next two serials.
Pertwee.
Right. Pertwee.
What's the name? Troughton. The first live action serial of Troughton we get to see.
Okay.
Because we haven't seen the serial live action.
The next two serials were both missing, but then were found.
They found them. In Egypt, somewhere. Where'd they find them? They found them in some sort of vault or some weird place they found.
Wait, I don't remember if these are animated or not. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Okay, because two of his big serials were found, but that was Enemy of the World and Web of Fear.
Do you know?
I think this one was animated.
Off topic, do you know when you play a video game and you have bad internet connection, sort of like you have a lot of latency, a slow ping, you're experiencing lag, like you give a command, it takes like a second for it to carry out? I feel like I'm at the point of intoxication where I'm experiencing lag in real life. Like, I'm having a latency issue where okay. I've had an amount of alcohol where
okay, I can believe
I have a slow response.
Okay.
You know, you turn your head and your vision kind of goes. Whoosh.
Okay. The next two serials exist, The Underwater Menace. The ones I'm thinking of that were found were next season, Enemy of the World, The Web of Fear. Okay? Those were found. These still exist.
Do we know where they were found?
Nigeria? I don't know.
It's the next two. Nigeria's.
That's the next season. But this one, Underwater Menace, is the first time we get to see him
for live action.
For true.
Yes.
Right, for real.
True.
And then, and then the Moon Base, and the one after that, the Macra Terror, doesn't exist, but is being animated. It comes out November 19th. We're gonna hope. We are going to try to watch the animation for that.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to try to not get there before it's out so that we can watch it animated as opposed to reconstruction.
So far,
which means we may have to have a few weeks missing, but we will watch Adventure in Space and Time.
So far we're on track because we had an incident where we missed a week. We have a movie night coming up, and we also have the documentary, the
Adventure in Space and Time.
Right. So
and we missed last week because your car was
my car was broken into. Someone smashed out the window. Anyway, so we're on par to the Macra Terror being animated before the time we get to it.
Yeah, and 2 weeks from today is my wife's birthday, so 50th birthday. So we may not do anything that night. Also,
probably no podcast.
Maybe next week we'll be hopefully watching Blazing Saddles.
Yes.
I'm going to show you and Sarah.
I'm so looking forward to that because I've seen Robin Hood Men in Tights, which is something I grew up with, which was absolutely hilarious.
Correct.
Inappropriate,
fantastic,
raunchy, potty humor. Mel Brooks, really funny, sort of British humor.
Right.
So very kind of reminiscent of Monty Python. That's something I also watched growing up. So I've heard things about Blazing Saddles, but I've never seen it. So that's next on our to watch movie night list.
So we're going to be sparse for the next few weeks, maybe every other week, as we do birthdays and movie nights and whatnot. But that's fine, so we can hit the Macra Terror at the right time to see it animated.
Maybe to make up for those blank spots, you'll do some more readings for us.
I'm not doing any more readings.
I'll do a reading. I'll do a reading.
No, I might do an explanation of.
I love those miscellaneous things. I don't ever watch them because of spoilers, but they seem to do real well on the channel. Good. They're one of the most successful videos on the channels. The
History of Doctor Who.
The History of Doctor Who 1 and 2 and Companions.
Okay, and I might do one. I had an idea for one I was gonna do.
So I like those miscellaneous videos.
Yeah.
Also the readings. I didn't get to finish those because you deleted them.
I did delete them because no one was watching them and it did not seem appropriate to our channel anyway.
We can have multiple things in our channel. We don't need this podcast to define our whole channel. By our, I mean your channel. Did you take the Twitch link off of the YouTube channel?
I think I did, yes.
Because I went to the YouTube channel, the Twitch link was gone.
The whole Twitch thing was silly. I don't know.
But eventually, maybe we'll be able to live stream.
They don't like
podcast.
my feet, so I'm done with that.
Yeah, but what if we live stream our podcast? Then we can have a viewer comment section.
Well, then we'd have to be like watching what they're saying.
No, we'll just have a screen, like a laptop sitting right there, and we can. We don't have a whole lot of concurrent viewers, so if a comment comes up every once in a while, then we can just answer that question. And that'll help fill the gaps between my inequity of taking questions.
Inequity, good word. Okay.
Because I'm a very question. I'm bad at notes.
Okay, we're drunk.
Or we have that one fantastic guy that recently commented on one of our podcasts, just, correcting all these lore mistakes we made while we were drunk. Someone was like, we're talking about companions, and he commented on one of the videos.
Yeah,
He's
he did correct
so and so
something,
was a companion, so and so wasn't a companion, and so and so timeline.
That's what I was talking
this
about.
was the name of the actor, and he said.
Oh yeah, that's when I was talking about the history of the companions and stuff.
I read some sort of comment that was just listing out all this lore explanation. I'm like, wow, that guy really knows his stuff.
Well, the problem was
we're drunk.
Misremembered a companion in a certain serial when they weren't in that serial, and it was
like,
a different one.
It's a very subtle thing. You like misremember the name of the actor that played a companion.
No, not the actor, but the character. I misremember the character. I thought the character was in one serial, but
and it started.
She wasn't. She was in a different one. Yeah.
Okay. But someone really knows their stuff.
Well, it's easy when you're sober.
And is sober. So. Speaking of, we should have a panel at LubbockCon for Doctor Who. A Doctor Who LubbockCon panel. That'd be cool.
What?
Because you already have a booth.
Well, I need to be manning the booth, though.
We'll have someone else man the booth while you do the panel. It's like an hour. You go do a panel about Doctor Who. You just get someone to watch the booth for like an hour while you do a panel. Super cool. And then you go back to the booth.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
That'd be awesome.
And
I could watch the booth while you do the panel. I'd like to be on the panel. Maybe we'll get someone else to watch the booth.
Okay.
I don't really know
if
anything.
we get more than 30 subscribers, maybe at some point.
Hey, you heard it. Guys, subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll do a panel at the next LubbockCon.
Maybe. All right.
30 subscribers panel at the next LubbockCon.
Maybe.
We'll record it, and we'll upload it to the channel. We have a stretch goal. A subscriber goal.
Alright. See you next time, guys. Maybe next week.
You haven't answered my questions yet. I've asked one question.
That's all you had. You don't know.
No, we covered the plot and the off topics.
What's the next question?
So they show up. They find this hat. There's writing on the hat. They read the writing, no problem. Even though the writing is in like Gaelic or something, probably not English.
Gaelic is Irish, not Scottish.
Oh, my bad. Anyway, maybe the writing was in English. It begged the question of the TARDIS has this translation circuit to where everyone within a certain distance, so the TARDIS is able to understand each other. I had the question: does the TARDIS also translate written languages? So
yes, within reason.
Within reason.
It does not translate Old Gaelic. Not Old Gaelic, old Gallifreyan, but it translates pretty much everything else.
Okay. Why Old Gallifreyan does it not translate?
I don't know. When the show needs a plot point to not be translated, it doesn't translate. When the show needs a plot point to be translated, it does translate.
It's like Star Wars with C-3PO, and he's like, I am fluent in 3,000 languages.
But not that one. Yeah.
I don't know if there's ever a Star Wars language that C-3PO doesn't know how to speak.
Yeah.
Inverness was the name of a port that I wasn't...
A city, yes, of course.
I don't know why I wrote that down. We talked about the Doctor and his intellectual equal companions.
Yeah.
Let's talk about certain personality or recurring personality of the Doctor. So far we've had 2 serials with the Doctor. So far in each of those serials he's said the same exact thing, is I would very much like to have a hat like that.
Really?
For some reason, he's a Mad Hatter, such as yourself. For some reason, this regeneration of the Doctor really likes hats.
He does, but it's like, not a thing.
He's like, I would very much like to have a hat like that.
Okay. He does like hats, but it's not a thing like you think.
He said it twice within the serial alone, and once in the previous serial.
But it's just about done.
He just likes hats.
No, that's not a big deal.
And as a Mad Hatter, I thought you might know something.
I know it's silly. I do.
You also told me to write down something about what's the next cereal, Hatter? Because normally in the regular cereals, they have next time, and then they give you the name of the next cereal. They don't do that in the reconstruction, so I don't...
They did after you went to the restaurant.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, I didn't see the next time.
The Underwater Menace. Yeah, you missed it. It said next time, Doctor Who and the Underwater Menace.
I'm gonna write that down.
Underwater Menace. Which exists, so we get to see it fully.
Yes, our
first time you get to see
fully
Trouton.
live-action serial of Trenton.
Trouton. I like Trouton.
The Phantom Menace.
Underwater Menace.
Star Wars. I'm talking about.
Do
Star
not.
Wars. Hey, the Star Wars fight with the Phantom Menace. There's one redeeming scene, minus Jabba Jar Jar Binks.
Anyway,
anything else, Hatter?
No. See you next time.
See you next time. Thanks again so much for joining us.
Link, subscribe, whatever. Yeah.
Thank you so much to our #1 fan who bought us action figures.
Well, he gave us action figures. I don't know if he bought them. He gave them to us.
Well, he gave them to us, and we're gonna display them somewhere, I'm sure. Our #1 fan. You heard it. Our subscriber goal: 30 subscribers by LubbockCon. And we'll have a panel, a Doctor Who panel, and we'll record it.
I'm not committing to this.
I commit to it. Even though I don't have the knowledge such as yourself.
Bye.
We'll see you next week, maybe.
Maybe.
We might have our movie night.